Oh, hey, welcome back. Good to see me. Hey, check this out over here. So I teased this the other day, but this is new to me. It's not new. This is my new 80-gallon air compressor. And there's a very specific reason, to quote Derek Berry, that I bought this one. And it's not because it was the cheapest, but it was because it was used. Now, a compressor like this, now the Campbell Hausfield that's this same way is probably like $1,700 brand new. The one I wanted was the Ingersoll Rand, and it was anywhere between $1,800 to $2,500. The reason I'm trying to get this is for being able to sandblast and do, heavy air tools and things like that. Now, I can tell you I'm not an expert, and I say that over and over again, but when you're talking about being able to sandblast and use air tools, the big thing you're going to hear is CFM. And so if my camera assistant can come over here, check this label out here. Get a good shot of that label. Specifically this. Okay, so as you can see, this is a max 140 PSI. This is the important part here, 16 at 90 PSI, okay? Now here's why that's important. In my research, and again, I'm just a tinkerer, okay? I'm a carpenter, and I like to mess with the metal stuff now. But I did a lot of research trying to figure out. Now you can go right now to Harbor Freight, and you can buy a little sandblasting pot, and you can hook it up to your little junky pancake compressor, and technically you can sandblast, but it is not gonna be what you wanna do. And I've watched tons of videos and done a lot of research on it. To be able to sandblast effectively, everything that I looked at for my own purposes tells me that I need to be at 15 PSI at 15 CFM at 90 PSI or above. And the only reason I say that's where if you really want to get a sandblaster and actually point it at something and just kind of run across it like you're painting and it's just stripping the paint off. That's the kind of sandblasting I want to do. So not up there at the industrial level, but good for doing home. So the 64 Chevy that I'm working on, the 57 Ford, I want to be able to take that stuff down. Now in a previous video, you saw me use the wet blast, and that was cool, and that was 30 bucks, you know what I mean? That was easy, but man, it was messy. And so this came up for sale, and I had an opportunity to buy it, so I jumped on it. So here's what I'm gonna do in this video, and I'm probably gonna slice a bunch of it because I tend to overtalk. But what I'm gonna do in this video, this sat in a barn, and it's in great shape, it runs. I've already got my 220 run, but what I wanna do in this video is clean it up. I don't know if you can see how dirty it is. I wanna change the oil in it. I ordered a new switch. I don't like this janky plug. I'm gonna do a longer one. But the main thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get my assistants to come out here. We're gonna pull this out, wipe it down, and then I am gonna go through the maintenance and talk about what we have to do to it. The belt is a little bit loose, squeaks when it runs. We're also gonna change the oil, which is pretty easy to do. And then I'm gonna put a new cord, new switch on it. I don't have all those things yet, but I will through the magic of television before you see me again. So if you want, let's get started cleaning this bad boy up. And then something's gonna happen. Hopefully, hilarity's gonna happen. But I do want to put the
hilarity will ensue.
What I do want to do is I want to get this out of the way.
Also,
I want to pull. Hey, I want to pull the compressor over to here. So I want to move some of this stuff out of the way. So Luke, you just start recording, and something's good's gonna happen. Okay, we're just gonna talk. We're gonna just forget the cameras on.
Yeah,
we want to be natural.
Oh, natural.
Hey, Mom's not coming back. So, Mom's not coming back. She went to go get scratches. She didn't come back.
6 years ago. Hey, what are you? Okay.
I'm just gonna put it over there.
Okay. Stop. That's good.
That hurts my ears so much.
Bubble, going in trouble.
Short.
What?
That sound is gonna be a short.
So, too. So it's really good.
Right here. All right, so we cleaned her up. And listen, it's not perfect. If you get close, you're gonna see all the imperfections we made. And I didn't, like I usually do, I yet again did not take you along the ride because it was boring, okay? Toothbrush, I am Danny Tanner and I overclean everything. So rags, toothbrushes, teeth brushes, whatever you wanna call it. We wiped everything down, cleaned all these fins out. To me, it was important. I wanted it to be my dirt. I actually wanted to get some buffing compound and get these scratches out and wax it. And Luke told me I was being ridiculous. So we decided to stop where we're at. Now, here's what I was going to show you though. This is the plan for this thing. And listen, if I'm wrong, put the comments in and tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm an idiot. But I read up on it and I talked to a couple of guys who are way smarter than me. So when you look at something like this and you see this is an 80-gallon tank, then does that mean that when it's full, you've got 80 gallons worth of air? How does this work? Is this going to go up to 80? Well, man, when I turned this thing on the other day, it went up to 120 and 130. How is it holding up? It's not like that. So basically, when we looked at the tag earlier on this one, it said that it was 140 max PSI. And that means that's what this tank's rated for. You don't want more than 140 PSI in it, which is totally fine, right? Most of your tools like sandblasting and things like that, it says 16 CFM, that's cubic feet per minute. Most of those things are rated at 90 PSI. So when I was talking about doing sandblasting earlier, that's how you can tell how good a compressor is. It'll say 5 CFM at 90 PSI. This one is 16 CFM at 90 PSI. What that means is like this little Porter cable pancake compressor over here. I don't know, I haven't even looked at it. It's probably like 2 or 3. Even some of the bigger saddle ones that you get, like M-Glows and DeWalt's and whatever, Makitas, they may be a good compressor and good for projects, but they may be 7 or 8 CFM at 90 PSI, which is just not gonna be enough to sandblast and run air tools. And we're looking at doing die grinders and sanders and wrenches and all that stuff. I want to run everything off it. So this is my new power plant. That's what this is. So basically what you have to do is you have to have, your switch is going to basically, when you turn it on, you can set this so that it's going to stop at 140 PSI. Not going to fill any more air in the tank to be 140 PSI. And then you also have to set it so that it'll kick on when you're running it. And I know it sounds confusing, and believe me, I've watched a lot of videos and I talked to some people and everything. Let's say you want to sandblast at 90 PSI. Well, if I put this at 140, fill it up, and then I run a hose to my sandblasting pot and I want to be at 90 PSI, the problem is that this thing's got to kick on an awful lot to keep up with that. And that's where your CFM comes in. And having an 80-gallon tank is that I can hold enough air so that I can sandblast continuously. Is this making sense to anybody? I'm not an expert, but you understand. That's why you want the capacity, is so that you have enough to keep going and it's not going to run constantly. Like if I fill this up, like I don't, if I'm just out here using a nail gun or like maybe using an impact wrench a couple of times, it's not going to kick on all the time. But if you're sandblasting, I do expect this to probably be running pretty much all the time. So anyway, hope that makes a little bit of sense. Again, I'm not an expert on this, but what I do know is the belt was a little loose. And that was an easy fix. All I had to do was loosen the 4 motor mounts here. And then I just pulled that out to tension up that belt, tighten it back down. Probably just came loose because it was shaking over time with it running. The other thing we did is we took these air filters off. And something like, this one has 2, pulled it right off. And wouldn't you know it, old brother Billy, he was changing them because they look brand new. Didn't show you that. You just got to believe me on it. One thing I haven't done yet is change the oil. And if you look at this, now every manufacturer is going to be different. But get in here and see if you can see this. This particular model, this Campbell Hossfield, it tells you to fill up the oil to this indicator, the red dot in the middle. And so basically we'll drain the oil out. I'm not going to do that yet. I don't have the oil. And we want to run it for a little bit to get it hot. That's owner's manual says that. So we'll drain the oil. We'll fill it back up to that dot. There is another way that you can kind of lubricate things, but I'm not going to mess with that. I'm going to do the oil, got the filters done, tighten the belt. Here's the problem I ran into is this switch was broken and I was trying to fix it and I think I accidentally burned it up. My fault. So I was able to order one of these, and if you see, this goes down into the tank here. This is all one complete unit. I was able to find the original part number for this for like $37 on Amazon. And so I'll replace that, and then I'm going to get a better cord to plug this in over there. But anyhow, I don't know if I'm making sense to you. I was excited about this, and I wanted to make a video to show you. So that should be in a couple of days. When it gets in, I'm going to pull this off, and I'm going to replace it. And I may even have a buddy of mine help me. And when he comes to help me, you'll get to maybe meet, if he wants to be on camera, then you might be able to meet a character. And we'll put that on there, and then we'll start using it. A little bit of update while I got you here. You good? A little update while I got you here. Supposed to be getting the 64 Chevy C30 back from the transmission guy this week. And if everything goes to plan, then we'll be able to turn this baby on and start sandblasting some parts and getting ready for painter. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed it. Stay tuned for more. If you, and what was I supposed to say? Huh?
Like, comment, subscribe.
Okay, like, comment, subscribe, and mash the subscribe button. Is that right? No, it's smash. I know that. You know, I say a lot of that stuff just to try to be funny. It irritates my kids. That's why I say it. Anyway, hope you enjoyed it. We'll talk to you soon. Now we got to figure out how in the world we want to reorganize this garage. You know what I'm saying? That was actually